Hey everybody, back at it again. Today I'm going to be doing the Riddler. So this is a hodgepodge of the characters. My favorite uh, approach for him. I've got a little bit of everything in here. We have the modern sideburns. We have the classic mask. We have the classic bow tie rather than the modern straight dress tie that a lot of people like to put him in now. Nice little hanging aquarium on the wall back here with fish and the seahorse and the question mark kind of thing going on. So we have that going on. And I'm not going to white out his eyes. Most people like to white out his eyes, but the thing is with the Riddler, he doesn't white out his eyes in his mask. He actually has eyeballs for the most part. So, visible eyes. So that's the rendition we're going to take on it. I'm going to put in visible eyes. I won't white them out like a typical Batman character because this one doesn't have that. So, and I get asked all the time about that, why do certain people do that, and why do certain people do this? And I mean, it's artistic interpretation, of course, but you have to go with what is most common for the character. I mean, sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't, and a lot of that comes from the '60s in the Batman spoof series with Adam West, because when they would play when they would play the different villains in the show, what they would do is they would play them from different angles and change up their costumes to see what works and what wouldn't. Like Catwoman with or without a mask, depending on who was playing her and what the situation was. And because she was a very claustrophobic character, because cats are claustrophobic in that way. They don't like constrictive things on their faces or in their way, so she wouldn't wear a mask all the time, and she would say that she was confined. So then you would have Eartha Kitt, that would be Julie Newmar and a couple of the others, and then you would have like Eartha Kitt. She would wear hers most of the time, especially if she was talking to Batman. There was no playing around. She was going to wear it. So, and that was because she wanted to wear the mask because she thought that she would want to keep her secret identity. Then later on, she didn't wear it quite as much, but it was optional. Same thing with the Riddler. Sometimes he wore the mask, sometimes he didn't. The Penguin never wore one across his face, hardly ever. And then he started popping up with a black eye mask like this. And it just never caught on. I mean, he would come up with just whatever. And once Batman knew his true identity, there was no purpose for him to wear it. So that's exactly what he did. He stopped wearing it so that he could brand his crime spree with his name and face. Now this is kind of disheveled, and the reason I want this hair kind of messed up is because of the effect of it being hat hair. So he has that problem. And the next part of it is that it's kind of jumbled up because his hair really isn't the thing that he really worries about as much, except for when he's running his fingers through it to push it out of his face. So this is kind of a layover from the days of Jim Carrey in the modern movies for Batman and Robin and whatnot. And that's that stereotype that came over because he had the longer hair, then he cut it off, and got the buzz cut going on at the end of the movie, and that's where that comes from. So he and Tommy Lee Jones both had a couple of different hairstyles, but then they clashed, so they decided to dye it pink and cut it off to make him stand out. And that's what he did for the Halloween scene at the end. And if you haven't seen those films, I won't reveal it to you. I know some people haven't. There's a lot of new generation people that haven't seen those yet. Or they remember them from being kids, and are in their 20s now, and they want to do it, and relearn some of those Batman films. That's awesome. So whatever works. But this character should come off pretty fast. Um, it's because he's so clean, in line, and I'm able to kick him out really quick because I've drawn this guy like, I don't know, 10, 20,000 times over the years. So there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I can knock him out pretty quickly. And I've noticed that I'm not in top form for talking today. I haven't talked a lot. I've been locked away at the art table here and knocking out pages for you guys to get to see the new webcomic coming up. And Catman is coming back finally. We've got that going on. Also, the new Lone Rider book is about to come out and start that series off. It's been a long time coming. I decided to go ahead and get that one knocked out because the colorist that was going to be on it got sick and couldn't do the book anymore, so we had to start the color process over, which was a bummer. And it took somebody quite a bit of time to do it the second time around, and that flaked out. So now it's one of those deals where I think I'm just going to color it myself and knock it out. But I've got one more guy talking to me that wants a shot at it, so I think I'm going to let him see if he can and do a test page from there. I'll keep you guys posted on that. That's going to come out from Firestorm pretty quick with the new revamp finally getting underway and done to where we can open back up for you guys. That site's been a long time coming. I'm going to add in another question mark there just to fill that gap. Hey, Jay, thanks, man. I appreciate it. This character for me has always been underrated because of the fact that he's got everything going on to beat Batman, not physically, of course, but mentally, he's like running toe to toe with him because he's always 3 steps ahead. And with a character like Batman, you'd have to be, because he's always trying to figure out the case of what's going on in current time, in real time. And what makes the Riddler such an interesting contrast is this guy's always 2 or 3 steps ahead in his plans. And that's what made him so fascinating to people, is because of the fact that he will always stump him. So that's something that's always made him a favorite of mine. And he's not as predictable as a Joker character. I mean, even though people say that, he's the least predictable Batman rogue, I don't think so. I really don't. I think Joker's very predictable, and he's actually, to be honest, he's not one of my favorite villains. I think he's predictable. I think he's overused and he's under-equipped. It's a blunt fight for that character. So it makes a big difference. Now, Gonna knock out this mask real quick. Now this is normally bright green, but I like to go with the green highlights and make it a super dark green and black it out like this because it makes it contrast a lot more to the bright green suit. And now we'll get the eyes cut in so we can see him here. That is going to work. And he's brown-eyed, so I'll leave those open so that I can do the light brown on his eyes whenever I color him in. A lot of people like to make those go black. Don't do that. If they're light brown, color them light brown. Don't black them out because then that kills the light and the edge out of the character's look. So let the color work for you there. Same thing with the hair. I like to come in and put in just a little bit here and there, but I don't overkill it because I don't want that to be overworked. Now this is a very fine line thing here. I like to do this just a little bit because he likes to keep it short. This incarnation likes to keep it buzzed off. So it's got that wavering modern layered thing happening there, where these are just little sprigs growing out of the side of his head, and you have a more full head on top, which is really cool because that's actually an homage to the old classic Riddler, because he used to have the 20s gangster style look. Even though it was the 40s, he had that 20s gangster style where they would have the hair shaved on the sides and the back, and they would have that lop of hair on top that would fall everywhere. And that was left over from the 30s and 40s Batman. And I think Bill Finger did that on purpose. I mean, I think that was a style that he was into. So when they designed that, I think that's why he came up with that look. Because the Riddler was supposed to be a clean cut, geeky office type of guy, and not have any real frills about him. He wasn't supposed to be the best looking guy in the world, and he was supposed to be understated, like I said, nerdy, geeky, wearing glasses and all that, and then really get into a character for himself whenever he went nuts and bought out the most flamboyant version of himself he could. In his crime boss costume. And it almost was like a carnival perspective with the way he dressed, because it was so flamboyant. It was like a circus act rather than a crime boss. But like I said before, he was such a high IQ'd genius. When he snapped, he really brought a threat to it that nobody else can. So it balanced out. I'm going to go this way and do some more of these. Knock out some more of these question marks. Let's see. Get that one knocked off. And I started another one right there on this side, which happened to line up with this one. So I'm going to move it down just a little, because as you can see right there, that it matches up with that one, and I don't want it to look like they tied together. So knock that out. Oh, lovely. Now I'm going to try and talk, and I've got the hiccups. Okay. hopefully the hard candy I have. I have not that I am endorsing them or anything. I have a Werther's, sugar-free Werther's hard caramel in my mouth right now, trying to keep my allergies down and my throat lubricated so I can talk to you guys without coughing and hacking and dying on screen and whatnot. Anyway, enough about that. Hopefully they'll keep the hiccups down for me. Maybe. I'm drawing this aquarium. I just wanted something in the background, and you know, everybody does his hat and his cane to death, and I just wanted to do something a little different. You know, I wanted to be more easygoing with it because it's Sunday, and you know, I just wanted to do something a little different. So I thought, what kind of you know, fish tank would he have if he had one? And you know, what else could I put in here that would be unique and interesting to the Riddler while still being just totally nuts and off the wall? Well, there you go. That's what I came up with. I came up with a fish tank. I'm going to put some stuff floating in there, you know, little bits and bobs floating around in there. Going to put this little fish in there. And yes, it's going to be a little abstract, but that's okay though, because of the fact that it's so small. And, you know, for this card to be this small, it is really small. Kind of put the fin on the seahorse there. Keep it very simple. He's in front of some rocks down here in the bottom for it to catch everything. And we've got this big question mark here. Making sure that I'm still on camera for you guys. Putting just a little bit of a rim on this so that it looks, you know, a little 3D. And wrap that around right over here, give that a little bit of a lift, and there we go. We have the Riddler. Hope you guys dig it. Let me grab the list and I'll see what's up for tomorrow. For anybody that's interested, we have, I've got a special one coming up tomorrow. This is going to run for the next couple of days. Most of this week is going to be pretty cool. For the next few days, we have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Tomorrow, I'm starting off with Leo. Tuesday is going to be Raphael. Wednesday is going to be Michelangelo. Thursday is going to be Donatello. And then I'm going to switch back over to the DC guys for a while, for a couple. And starting off with Hawkman on Friday. So if you're watching this today, because it's on Sunday, and that's normally the family time, so that's the low view day, which I totally respect. You guys got an insight for the whole week, so there you go. You'll know which days to pick off and which ones not to, and hopefully you'll join me up for all of them. But that's it for right now. Thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it so much, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow.